Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's first full day out here in the national parks, and I woke up to rain. I say I woke up to rain. It rained all night. I've woken up a couple of times during the night. It was really cold, really cold. My hands got to the point where they were super painful, and I had my gloves inside my rain jacket pocket, and my rain jacket was in my backpack, and I didn't, before coffee, realise, okay, that's where you would have stored them. So I've gone without gloves this morning, and now I'm sat in the car warming up my hands so I can use them again. It's been so cold. It's raining still, if you can hear that. So what I'm doing is I'm going to see if I can wait out this little wave of heavy rain, and I'll don my rain gear, and I'm going to get walking to a place called Laughing Falls. There is a lake that is very famous called Emerald Lake that everyone goes to, but I'd rather go see the falls, seeing as I'm in this area, rather than go to the lake and then drive all the way back up here. That would be like a 25-mile round trip, so don't worry about that. I'm going to do the walk, do the hike, drive down to Emerald Falls, hopefully find a parking space, and then I'm going to go to, I think it's called, somewhere called Wapta Trail that goes over to some waterfalls as well. So yeah, a couple of things, a couple of water-based attractions to see. Sadly no water slides, but you know, we'll see what nature has to give us. The rain has slowed. It's not completely stopped, but slowed. So, oh, forgot my trekking poles. It's because the back's so lightweight. I'm not carrying my tent or sleeping quilt or anything like that, or any food, apart from a few delicious Cliff Bars. The poles of trekking are here. Let's go walk to a waterfall. Got rain gear on. I've got my puffy in my backpack just in case it gets a little bit cold. I've got my gloves in my pocket just in case my fingers need warming up again. But I think we're good. Better late than never. So if you follow this trail, what you can do is loop up into those mountains and go and access some glaciers. But I've decided not to do that. One, because it's like a 12.5-mile loop with, like, I think about 3,500 feet of elevation gain, and then loss again because you've got to come back down. It's being a loop. Not just that, but also the fact that it's a very cold day. All the mountains are shrouded in cloud, and there seems to be a lot of snow up there. So I think if I was to make my way up there, I'd have some snow travel. And you know what? I'm trying to use this as a vacation and to do some sightseeing, not to, you know, get myself bogged down in the weeds of snow travel, especially with no snow gear. So we're just going to go to the waterfall and then go to the lake afterwards. But I've just passed a group of, I'm assuming, youth workers and their group of youths. They are looking miserable. Unfortunately, they must have been caught in that horrid rainstorm that I sat in the car for 45 minutes avoiding. They look very cold, very miserable. So it's another reason to probably avoid those high areas where it's going to be even colder than it is here. I've stopped off at this waterfall called Point Lace Falls. It's a little bit off the trail. Take a few photos and then head on the rest of the way. Well, here we are, we made it to Laughing Falls. I'm not sure why they called it Laughing Falls, but the name doesn't matter. It's still very, very epic waterfall. Back of the car, warming up my hands again. Oh, they got cold again, even though I was wearing gloves. I can see why they shut this place down in October, because here we are sort of back end of September and it's bitter out there. So, and apparently it was snowing up top. I bumped into some hikers coming the other way and they told me that it snowed probably about 6 inches overnight. So yeah, I can really see why they say no, we're not going to open the park between October and May. So, well, on to our next stop anyway. Emerald Lake is where we're going to try and get to. I've heard that the parking there is an absolute nightmare. Too few spaces and too many people want to visit, so might need to do a couple of laps to go around, or maybe choose somewhere else until later on in the day. We'll see what it's like. So when I pulled up all those years ago and saw this waterfall, it was from roughly this angle. So I'm going to brave the torrential rain. I'm going to get out and I'm going to take a shot from the same angle that I first saw the picture in that picture book years and years ago. There's another one on the other side of the street there. So I managed to find a parking space for Emerald Lake. Let's go and have a look at this lake then. There we go. I think that's worth the walk, don't you? This area is stunning, absolutely beautiful, but a little too busy for me. I think it's hard to get your shots in between people just walking straight in front of you when you're taking a picture. So, off to the next place. Look at this, The Enemy Within. I'm going to slowly pan down. If you want to read it, just pause. Not quite earth, just rocks across this river. Lunchtime. I've come to the Wapta Falls trail. It's probably not pronounced Wapta. Either way, that's where I am. It's a 2.2 kilometre, so about 1.7 miles each way, so probably like an hour and 20 round trip, plus whatever time it takes me to take photos. So let's go and see what the falls look like. Man, that's quite impressive. There are people up there, but there's enough mist down here for me to be satisfied with this shot. Returned from the falls, and now it's probably best I try and make my way over to Banff and see if there's a campsite available. I'm leaving it a bit late, but yeah, let's try and get on and see what we can find. If not, I'm going to go back to Takakane Falls because I know that campsite I can just walk into.
Many minutes later.
So, I've been to the visitor centre in Lake Louise, as I thought pretty much everything is already booked out. There is a place that I could have gone to back the way I came, but they did say there's an overflow down here, and it's a watercraft inspection station, and the car park has overflow, and there's lots of other people here in massive vehicles. Funnily enough, this giant 4x4 is the smallest by far. I might try and put up a tent. I'll see what happens. The ground itself looks pretty solid. It's not asphalt, it is compacted gravel, so we'll see if we can get a tent stake in there. Then tomorrow we'll try and visit Lake Louise. I think I'm going to try and hike to it, so I'm going to do some research now and see what my options are, because I believe you can drive up there, but the parking is $36.50. If I want to hike there, well, let's see what happens. So this is Lake Louise on the map, and Moraine Lake down there. Now Moraine Lake is 12 kilometers each way and restricted. It says there, closed to personal vehicles, so you need a shuttle. And this way is $36.75 per vehicle. So what I'm going to have to do is not go and see those two lakes tomorrow, but maybe the day after. And tomorrow I'll go to the info center and I'll see if I can book shuttles for the day after tomorrow. So that's not going to happen tomorrow. Let's find another plan. Tent's up. It's soaking wet though, so I've left the doors open. As you can see, looks like a swimming pool inside, and yeah, you can't really see it from here. But if we move over, you can start seeing the patches of wet where it's soaked into the Dyneema. I don't know if soaked in is the right word, but yeah, I know it's wet. That's all you need to know. It's wet. Well, dinner over. Sat in the car procrastinating. I have come up with a plan for tomorrow. The crack is that I will go to the visitor centre tomorrow, try and book those two shuttles, book the campsite in Banff, then take off up the Icefield Parkway to Jasper. It's a really long road, like 132 miles, so like, I don't know, a bazillion kilometres. So that's my plan. Take off to Jasper tomorrow. It's quite a lot to see, so I think it'll be quite a late night, and then I'm going to come back to this campsite probably. I'm just gonna leave it there for today's vlog. I need to ask you again, please help me get to the 3,100 mark of raising money for charity. This charity is called the Wilderness Foundation UK. I'm trying to raise money for them, and what they do, if you haven't heard this already before, is that they get people in vulnerable situations, people who are underprivileged, and get them into nature for nature therapy. If that sounds like something that you would like to support, then please do. I would really love it if we could get to that £3,100 mark. This is by far the most amount of money I've ever raised for charity, and I am blown away by the huge amount of generosity from so many different people. It's incredible. We've got some people that have donated more than once, which, you know, I couldn't even ask it. I'm just so pleased and blown away by that that kind of generosity. And if you'd like to get involved, you can. There is a link below this video. Click that link, go and read up about the charity. It's all there on the page, and we can hopefully raise that 3,100 before it all closes, before the end date of the fundraising campaign. Other than that, that's everything I have for you today. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, we are filming.
Head northeast toward Emerald Lake Road, then turn right onto Emerald Lake Road.
So I managed to find a parking space for Emerald Lake, but it is half the world away. I've come to a place called the Natural Bridge.
Turn right onto Emerald
Not
Lake
sure what
Road.
to expect. There's no... I've come to the beautiful Duchesnay Lake. Here it is. Oh man, this was definitely worth coming this far off trail to come and see. Some of it's left. This rather large puddle over here.
Head northeast toward Emerald Lake Road, then turn right onto Emerald Lake.
Icefield Parkway, Iceland, Icefield, Ice Baby.